morning, legends. What a pleasure to be with you this morning. I am welcoming you to Espresso Shot number 10. So, we've actually been doing this for the last 10 weeks, actually 12 weeks, because I believe there were two that I missed. Good morning. I'm not sure who's watching, but it's lovely to know that there's someone with me this morning. Give me a thumbs up or say hello so I can see who's there. Um, so today, as always, I will be with you for about 10 minutes, no more. And so the topic of today is who should actually be allowed in your head? And I think that's quite an important topic to discuss because we're putting ourselves out there. We're having conversations with a lot of new humans on a daily basis, most of which don't have any training as coaches, or they don't know sometimes why they're so unhappy or so angry. And it can be a bit challenging to respond to their comments or even to deal with them in our family settings or at work if some of you still have a job that you go to on a regular basis. So I wanted to give you some tips on what I do to manage my own headspace in order to stay positive, stay the course, so that my practice can be successful and that I can also really be there, like present to serve the people that I want to be serving. So, of course, I'm not going to be discussing the basics, like, for example, why, your why, because you know that. We've covered this several times, and in your training, you've seen the importance of starting with your why. So, I'm not going to be talking about that. I'm not either going to be talking about surrounding yourself with amazing humans who share the same objectives or who are on the journey with you, because that also is something we've talked about quite a lot. And you know that, and that's one of the reasons why you're in the legends. But what I wanted to share with you is three things that I have found have really served me in keeping my head in the right space to show up how I need to show up when I'm serving, and to also make sure that I have my priorities straight, which means that I have to make sure that the commitments I take, I will meet them. And so, who should be allowed in my head? Well, it's a pretty straightforward answer. No one. No one else but myself. And so, how do I manage my own thoughts? How do I manage my positive mindset? And how do I manage to always show up how I need to show up? Well, the first thing I do is that before I get out of bed, I sit in my bed or I stay with my head on the pillow, and I find something like and that's really a thought process that I have gone through for the last uh, while. It's been a while. I've always tried to find something that's really positive that I'm grateful for. For example, and it's so relevant for the what's happened in my life in the last month and a half. At the moment, in the morning when I wake up, I'm grateful for my health. Yeah, because there was a time in Bali not so long ago where that wasn't a given at all. And so, yeah, and without health, I think that I couldn't do any of what I'm doing. And so I find a moment and I consciously contemplate my health and I'm thankful for my health. Then the second thing is I find a happy thought, whatever that is. At the moment, spending time with my cat, giving him a big cuddle is a happy thought, and it could be anything. I know that some of you are grandparents, it could be spending time with your grandchildren. I know that some of you are parents, it could be investing a bit of time with your children. Anything, whether it's a connection, whether it's an activity for yourself that you really enjoy, like stand-up paddling is something that I absolutely adore. And knowing that not this weekend, but the following weekend, I'm going away with the man and some friends and we're going to be stand-up paddling, that's also a happy thought. And then I plan two things in my day to accomplish. So that's the first thing that I do. So before we keep going, I would like to ask you, what's your routine in the morning that sets you up for the day? Would you share that with us? So I'm just going to go and put that. Can I put that in the comments? I don't think I can access the comments. What is, no, I can't. Oh, yeah. What is your routine in the morning? There you go. So if you want to share what your routine is, that would be lovely because that's the first thing that I've addressed. So the first tip that I'm giving you this morning to manage who's in your head or who should be allowed in your head, and keeping in mind that I'm recommending that you're the only person that goes in there and that manages what happens up there. The first thing I'm offering you, the first tip is to have a routine in the morning that puts you really in the right space. And so, whatever the day throws at you, once you're really clear on what you're grateful for, something that's a happy thought, and two things that you want to accomplish that day, then you can manage everything else that comes at you. So I would love to read what you have as your morning routine. My second tip is, and keeping in mind that this conversation is about um, managing challenges or challenging people, challenging situations. And what I always remember when something comes at me or a challenge is on my path is that I'm a human code specialist. I'm a human code specialist in training, and people like Tony Robbins or Sharon Pearson or Glenn Murdoch from the CCC, they are well in advance. They are like, or even Capriel that I know is a an LP trainer. All these people have so much more knowledge than I have, but we're all learning, or we have mastered the human code. Now, why am I discussing that? Because that's really obvious. But we sometimes forget that this is who we are as professionals, and we get caught up in other people's drama or their anger, or they say things and we let them get to us. So, as a human code specialist, I remember that people will say things that are hurtful when they're hurting. People will do things that are not nice because of how they see themselves. People who have challenges in self-love, self-respect will also also lack respect towards others, and they won't be able to show love either. So if I put my coach hat on, when someone sends me a nasty email or says something on a post or even in person that's really not nice, I know that it's not about me because they don't know me. Yeah. So most of our clients, most of our um, work relationships, or the people that even the people that we encounter in the Facebook groups everywhere, they don't know us. So it's impossible that they are actually being nasty towards us personally. It's usually something that they have a challenge dealing with themselves. And when we put our human code specialist hat on, we're able to recognize that. And I really encourage you to expand your knowledge map, because the more you connect the dots with all the behavioral models you've come across and every bit of information you've ever uh, read or been tested on as a life coach, as an NLP specialist, as a hypnotherapist, when you put all that together, it really gives you a deeper understanding of why this person is saying what they're saying, how they're saying it, and then you completely remove, because it's not about you. 99.5% of the time, it is not about you. So there you go. So that's my second tip to help you manage who should be allowed in your head, right? So again, in my second tip, if I'm completely aware that I'm the coach, I'm the human behavior specialist, when someone says something that if I didn't have that knowledge, I could find hurtful, because I have that knowledge, I'm able to keep them out of my head, and I use my head to look for information that's going to help me interact with them the best way possible, or simply sometimes just move away. All right, so the third thing that I do, and that's really, really cool. And I've done that in the last 6 months because I've needed to really revisit why I'm doing what I'm doing. Is it worth continuing what I'm doing? You know, we always have those thoughts. Should I do what I'm doing? Um, I know that a lot of you have had challenges around the how much should you be charging? So all these things, right? So who should be allowed in your head when it comes the time to deal with the big challenges? Well, that's the one exception I'll make to letting others into your head, but under two conditions. The one thing that I recommend doing when you're going through a really challenging time is to dig up the love mail you've received. I'm sure you do, as I do, receive emails, messenger messages, text messages, or even sometimes videos of people saying thank you. Thank you for what I do, that the world needs what I do, that they're happy they've met me, that I've made a difference in their life, that I've changed their lives. Yeah. So I'm always mindful to stay grounded, right? It's not about flattering my ego. It's about recognizing that what I do matters and it serves. So reading the love mail is something I really enjoy. The second thing is watching the video testimonials that I've gathered. Because when I watch the video testimonials, it allows me to connect with a human, with their eyes, with their words, with the tone, with the emotion as well. And it's really beautiful. So do yourself a favor, and make sure that you collect those love mails or love messenger messages and thank you notes and video testimonials, and you keep them really safe. Ultimately, it would be nice if they're all on a website or a web page so that the whole world can read the love mail that you've received as a social proof. But that's something that I do for me as well. When I want to make sure that I'm in the right headspace, this is for me the absolute ultimate to reconnect, be happy, and absolutely ensure that I'll show up as you need me to show up. So there you go. That's what I wanted to share with you this morning. I wanted to make sure that you are aware that I do read your love mail, that I absolutely appreciate the video testimonials, that when you participate in this community, it touches my heart and it makes me really, really happy and it makes me want to continue. And I wanted to help you as well manage who should be allowed in your head, because that was a topic for today. And hopefully that has helped you. If not, you might find that the reflection will help you find your own way to manage who should be in your head, who should be allowed to spend a bit of time in your head. And I would like to take a moment, just 30 seconds, to mention that it's also about accountability when we show up on the ESPRESSO SHOT. And I would absolutely love to know the basics. So how much did you bank in the last 7 days? How much do you want to bank in the next 7 days? And what specifically will you be doing to make sure that you hit your target? Stay focused, legends. You've got this. You know this works. You know this is one strategy out of a whole bunch of strategies you can use to be gaining stable, secure income from your coaching services. And I absolutely encourage you to nail it. I love you so much. You have a wonderful day. Thank you for your thumbs up. Thank you for your love. And I will see you tomorrow in the live session at 9 a.m. Bye, everybody.